Is One Piece the best trading card investment for 2026? Welcome back, Legends. My name is Luke, and this is my monthly series where I go over my pickups from the last month to hopefully help inform your decisions for what you may want to pick up this upcoming month or this upcoming year even. And while I'm a collector at heart, I do try to approach collecting from an investment mindset to get the best deals for cards and get stuff while they're cheap before they go up in value. So if that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button to come along this journey with me. And while typically I am picking up mostly Pokemon cards, this month I did pick up actually mostly One Piece. And if you haven't been paying attention, the One Piece CCG has been exploding recently in popularity, and of course the prices along with it for both sealed product as well as a lot of singles. And before we get into my pickups for this month, I guess I do want to talk a little bit about what has been going on here, because I think there have been a couple catalysts that have sparked this. One thing to keep in mind is that this is not the first, I would say, boom that we've had in One Piece. Now, it's a very new game. It's only been out for about 3 years now, but it's actually seen a lot of popularity pretty much from the get-go among both players and collectors. And what I noticed, at least, is that the very first kind of big explosion of popularity for this game came when Pokemon was in a lull. I want to say this was kind of around the time, actually a little bit after 151 came out. We had sets like Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, Twilight Masquerade, a lot of these sets that were not as popular at the time, and it kind of left a vacuum, it left room for people to explore other interests, and it was the perfect time for One Piece to kind of come out with some really great sets like OPO 5 and some other ones after that. And that's about the time that I actually got into the One Piece TCG. So I have been collecting for a good, what has that been? Almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half or something like that. So all I have to say is I'm actually not new to collecting this. I'm not just getting in now with the hype, although it has kind of sparked my kind of enthusiasm to focus on it a little bit more. So if you were to ask me kind of what was the spark to trigger this big boom in the One Piece CCG, I think a lot of it has to do with two factors in my opinion. One being that right now Pokemon is in a bit of I wouldn't even call it a lull like we saw before, but we've seen a correction in the market. And of course, over the last year, everything has just been going up and up and up. And so especially for those who are newer here, whatever the sports card bros, the sneakerheads, or anybody else who have only known Pokemon going up and up, now for us to see a little bit of a correction, a little bit of a dip in Pokemon cards, I think it's got a lot of them scared and a lot of them kind of fleeing to something else. And this seems to be the next thing that they're moved on to, at least in the time being. And I think the second spark here is what made a lot of them aware of One Piece in general, and that was a video put out by a channel called Chasing Cardboard, who came and basically interviewed and picked up some cards, some sports cards from this guy Gerald in this video, also known as, I believe, One Piece Hip Hop over on Instagram. Go check him out. You can check out the video as well as his Instagram in the link in the description below. But he basically made a bold statement that he's selling all of his sports cards and moving into One Piece. And I think it got a lot of people interested to check this out. Now then, I think the question that a lot of people have is this an overhype or is this a bubble? Personally, I think it's somewhere in between. I think that we are seeing a huge hype cycle for One Piece. I think there will also come a correction eventually later, but I personally also think that One Piece is actually a really solid collectible, and I think one that has a lot of potential. I think it stood the test of time for about 3 years. I think, a lot of new TCGs don't last that long, at least as far as popularity. So the fact that it's this hot, even this after a couple years, I think is actually a pretty good sign. Of course, there's a lot of other things that, probably many people have talked about. The fact that it's been the longest running anime. It's still going. There's, of course, the new live action show coming out, the second season coming out very soon. All these factors, I think, tells me that One Piece has some legs. I think it does have a ways to go. Now, again, are some of these prices too much? I think that is very possible. but it also means that there may be some opportunity as well in this market for some arbitrage. And of course, picking up cards that may still be undervalued that people are not focusing on yet. So with that, guys, I do want to show you my pickups from this month, and most of it was One Piece. So I didn't pick up a ton, but we do have a little stack here that I do want to show you. And again, just to reiterate, I am a collector of One Piece, and what I have decided to focus my collecting on is graded Zoro cards mostly. Probably maybe the second most popular character next to Luffy. So I collect mostly Zoro, but then a couple other characters occasionally that I just really like the cards, like the art, and Luffy is one of those, and I have a couple other characters that I enjoy as well. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, and a lot of what I have kind of focused on initially here is cards that that I basically want to collect for myself, and then ones that I think I could also grade and get extra copies, and of course hopefully between those get at least the grade that I'm looking for, but then maybe have some extras to sell off and then be able to help feed back into my collecting and this hobby for me. So that's really what it's all about for me, is when I talk about the financial side of things, it's all about finding good deals, finding cards that may be undervalued, and possibly grading, flipping, so that I can have more funds to keep collecting the other stuff that I like. So anyway, these first two cards are actually ones that I had already had in my I guess not in my bulk, but just kind of sitting around, but ones that I actually plan on getting graded. These are the illustration box promos. There's a bunch of these. They come in these like kind of square looking boxes. They come with a couple packs and then promo cards. I found them at Barnes & Noble and Target. But anyway, so these are two that I found some really clean copies that I am going to be setting off for grading. This is one, of course, the Zoro, that I'm hoping can get a BGS 10 that I can add to my PC. And we'll also send this to BGS as well. Seemed like a very well-centered, clean copy for the Boa Hancock, which is another kind of popular character, I would say. And then next up, let me find this card. Oh yeah, so this is actually a very similar looking card here. You'll notice that they actually have the same numbering, the OP07113 for both of these. And that's often how One Piece does it for any kind of reprints of a card. If they use a new artwork, they'll just use the same kind of numbering oftentimes. So this one right here, this is the One Piece Day Dallas promo card. And this came in a pack for anyone who attended this event, which was earlier in 2025, I believe March 2025. And this is an event where they had tournaments, they had kind of guest speakers up on a stage, they had a shop where you could buy One Piece products. So I thought that this one's cool. It's kind of come up a little bit in price, and yeah, I just want to get a copy of it because it's a very unique card. It's one was limited for only attendees of the event. You can't pull it from a pack, so I thought that this would be a cool one to own and get graded. Let's see what else we have here. Next up we have, oh yes, we did get a couple copies of this, but this is the one I'm sending off to Beckett. I sent a couple off to PSA as well. This is actually from the One Piece magazine in Japan. I believe it's like the 20th issue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so a really unique promo card. One that you could argue might be a little more mass produced because it does come in all these magazines, but one that's also going to be available only for a limited time. I think it's just a really stunning artwork. I love the minimalism of the kind of just black and red and white. Yeah, of course features Luffy. A lot of the Luffy cards are doing really well right now, and this is one that I haven't seen a lot of movement on yet, possibly due to how many of them are out there, but I don't know. The fact that it's a language exclusive, though, I think is a good reason to pick one of these up if you're into the Japanese ones as well. All right, what else do we have here? Oh yes, here we have the treasure rare Zoro from OP09. This is actually a card that I pulled myself, which I was very excited about because it is Zoro. Unfortunately, the copy that I ended up pulling did have some whitening on it, so I knew I couldn't send this one off. So I ended up actually picking up this one from a seller on Whatnot, and I felt like I found a pretty nice copy. you know, the centering is, I think, pretty good. Maybe a little bit thin on the right side for the back at least, but yeah, at least it was super clean on the back. So I'm hoping for a BGS 10 for that. We shall see. Of course, any of the ones that don't get a 10, I may have to just keep trying for. And then we have another Whatnot pickup here. And by the way, if you guys are not familiar with Whatnot, they're a live streaming platform where you can buy and sell cards and often get some pretty great deals, because they have just 1 minute auctions often where you can kind of snipe and get some good deals, or haggle with the sellers to talk them down a little bit. So they actually, I've noticed like a huge increase in the number of One Piece sellers on there. So I've been kind of looking out for deals on there, and clean cards, especially since I'm getting them graded. This was one that I was very excited to find. So this is the 3rd anniversary winner Luffy card. Now this is a card that was awarded to winners of the 3rd anniversary tournament, which I believe was also combined with like the OP 13 tournament. So basically the newest set that just released and has, you know, also been going up in value quite a bit. So yes, this was awarded. Basically it came in a promo pack. So winners of that tournament got this promo pack. It came with 3 cards, including this one, as well as Sabo and Ace. But this one I think is just the best looking. It's a really awesome foiling, as you can see kind of on like the lightning there. And the other thing that's really unique about this is that this is actually illustrated by the person who created the Black Clover manga. So they came over to kind of guest illustrate for this card, and yeah, it shows. I mean, this is one of the more unique artworks that we have seen on One Piece cards, and so I knew I had to have this one. I think it just looks amazing with just the reds, the blues, and the whites. I love the more minimalist looking cards like this. And then we have one more Whatnot pickup of One Piece cards right here. And by the way, I forgot to mention that if you guys decide to go check out Whatnot for yourself, definitely use my link below to sign up, because you can get a $10 free credit just for signing up. So I hope you guys take advantage of that. Let's see though. I waited to unbox this one with you guys. I definitely don't love when tape is used in packaging for cards, but at least it's painter's tape. Could be worse. And here we go. We've got a beautiful Zoro card, Zoro Dro. Check this out. Now this is a card that came in a pack, and that pack had 2 cards in it, and it basically was awarded to finalists for the national championship from this past year, in 2025. So it says 2025 to 2026 there on the stamp, a really cool gold stamp. And so again, this was not a winner card, but for one of the finalists. So I forget, probably like the top like 10 or something like that. And the other thing that's interesting is you weren't guaranteed this specific card. You could pull a number of cards, and again, it came with 2, so you'd pull 2 of those few cards. But yeah, I gotta love the Zoro card. I love the artwork on this one. And there's 3 versions of this card actually. This one is of course the one with the gold champion stamp on it. You can also find one that I think may have come in just like the participant or maybe attendee packs that were given out for that event. I could be wrong. Any information that I'm mistaken on, feel free to correct me in the comments below. But for my research, there are 3 versions of this. So one doesn't have a stamp, and then one of them has actually a black championship stamp, and it actually has texture on it. And this is what I'm not 100% sure on how you can acquire this one, but I think it's kind of just the luck of the draw from one of these finalist packs. I think you could get this one, or you could possibly get the much more valuable textured one with the black stamp. But I went ahead and picked up the middle tier here because I still really like this one as well. Maybe someday we'll be able to come across a deal for the textured one as well. But yeah, love this card. Great Whatnot pickup. And from what I can tell, like, it's looking pretty nice. The centering looks honestly perfect on this one from what I can tell at first glance. And hopefully no whitening, but I'm not seeing any, but we'll inspect it a little bit more later. So yeah, just a couple pickups, but some of these are a little bit more pricey, so that kind of comes with it. But here we go. We also got one that's not so pricey. I actually sniped a really great deal for this. This is not a valuable card, but just one that I really like the artwork for. This is the special kind of alt art Don that came in OP06, Wings of the Captain. And I've tried to grade one of these myself, and I got a 9. So when this came up in a 9.5, I think I only got it for like $7 at auction, so way less than even the grading fee. Now eventually I will be shooting for a 10 of this, but I don't know, I just think it's a very difficult one to grade. It often does not have, it often has a lot of like whitening on it, or little fuzzies, or whatever you can say, but it's also possible maybe I could resubmit this to Beckett and maybe they would give it a 10, because it does look pretty good overall. Some pretty good centering. At least on the front. The back's, yeah, not bad either. All right, and so that is my last One Piece pickup for this past month, but I'll still be looking out for more. And guys, the thing is, you know, the one thing I'll give as a caveat is technically the best time to have gotten into One Piece was probably 2 to 6 months ago, when a lot of this stuff was a lot cheaper. And so I recognize, and I'm making a conscious decision to still participate in this market and buy stuff because I still really enjoy it. So is it possible that I'm overpaying for some of this? Yeah, it's definitely possible. Time will eventually tell. But I don't want to stop buying, because oftentimes that's when I kind of feel the most regret, is when I didn't buy something when it still was a good price, and then the price just keeps getting away from you even more. But just recognize that some of these prices for stuff might be a little overinflated right now, and you could still choose to pay those prices, and if it's going in your PC, then yeah, you might be completely okay with that. Or you may want to look for some of the more niche stuff that maybe people haven't recognized as actually undervalued yet. But anyway, that's the last thing I'll say, at least on the One Piece stuff. But we did pick up one Pokemon card. We got a graded CGC card, and it is the Shining Mew in a 9, the old label CGC 9. Honestly, you know, I've never really liked the CGC labels. I don't really like the new ones or the old ones that much. But I have to say this one matches pretty well with the blue shiny Mew. And so I picked this one up just from a local card shop because it was way cheaper in a 9 than it was raw, and I don't own this card yet. So that was a cool pickup, and honestly it looks really nice. I don't know, may even try and regrade it, but we'll see about that. All right, keeping things moving along. We have another piece of mail from Whatnot, and this probably is a Pokemon card. I don't know what else it could possibly be, but this is kind of fun because I often wait too long to open up some of my mail from Whatnot because I want to open it up with you guys. You can see this one was from a whole year ago, so I thought it would be fun to treat this as a little time capsule and see where my mind was collecting wise a year ago. Of course, the boom in Pokemon had just begun, so yeah, let's see if we're happy with this pickup or not. Okay, we got a Pokemon single. Already seeing a little bit of whitening around the edges, so probably, hopefully, a vintage card. Don't usually like to buy modern cards in that condition, but here we go. What did we buy a year ago? Ooh, okay. Hey, a Shadowless Nidoking. Let's freaking go. Literally forgot that I bought this. And I don't think I've bought another one since then. I could be wrong about that. Like I said, I already saw a little bit of whitening on the back, but then the front looks pretty beautiful. Man, I love the Shadowless cards. And so that's another one of my collecting goals, is I'm collecting all of the Shadowless Hollows in a BGS slab. And so we will be sending this one off, and it might do all right. It'll probably be, it probably won't get any higher than an 8, maybe more like a 7. So we'll see. At this point, I'm just trying to get them all in a BGS slab, and then over time we may upgrade them. But man, the front just looks so good. I feel like I don't see any scratching on the hollow. I could be wrong. I do see a little bit of like a scratch on the non-hollow part. All right, pleasantly surprised about that one. And then last but not least, it's kind of become a tradition for these videos, I do have also a backlog of VHS that I like to buy. Sealed VHS normally. Now, if this is the one that I think it is, it's probably not sealed, but let's see what it is. What do we have here? Oh, okay, it is a sealed copy. Oh, it's a nice one though. All right. All right. We have a sealed copy of the first print of Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Oh man, love this. This is actually my favorite movie of all time. And I do have already some high grades of another editions of this, but yeah, this is the first one. And you can tell because it has the red hi-fi little thing on the front. You can also tell by the watermarks on the back, which are a little hard to see, but it basically says it's like a CBS Fox watermark. You can see the side of it right there. If I remember correctly, I've graded one of these before. I didn't get as good a grade as I thought. So yeah, we're trying again, and this one looks really crisp. Oh man, I'm very excited about this. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the current One Piece market situation. Let me know if any of these pickups are ones that you tend to pick up for yourself. But check out one of our other videos here on screen. If you like One Piece openings, we've got plenty of those here on screen, and you can check out our last investing video here as well. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.